wanna chitama tanda wanna chit chatu 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 ore ona chitra ma kudu de doso mandra chabachi chitra ma ka teni kudu de ba jata de epashi chabashi chabashi ja to chabachi to mara ya to chabakari do satana chabar chiyo nyamna tina pena sepo tapo nye tuwi chamba na ngaji rosi matabi rosi tabi ngama sepo chimbo uchi yubaji 아니 첩기로 고쳐서 공부하지 로스 탕크 그 공부 첨부지 유바지 어디 로스 탕크 티 자시사노라 티 로스 탕크 때 첨부 마샤다 요선 유메 티티요 말아서 진짜뭐 마장운디 걸 덤덤 pomba chuchu pomba saji pomba chuchu tende ayes tes티요 te 자시도 또 이미 te ting이 만자는 아니 추터 지바 te 유메 자 메기 추터 롱비 to be bombarded the humid Meki the Chashi the treasury Saji Bomba Yemedon Yeme Bomba Yeme Teto Bomba Yemasaji Bomba Yeme Teto Bomba Saji Bomba Yeme the Chuchu Saji Bomba Kagi chimboto remere chitagi human. Maybe Bombay maybe Seji Sebo Yimba to Bombay Yimba. Tavala Koichi Sebo Seji nyale chibi bomba ti bomba yemi chati toto dembas o sarkinya se ti ba chaji jo ma se ba chata toto dembare ri bomba yemi chata ane kodo dembare bomba yemi chata kodo dembare dobi yima
Page 54, second paragraph. If you ask how this is different from the way Vaibhashikas posit a pot as relative truth or conventional truth, there, when they hit a golden pot to see what they might find, it is definitely not a case of subjecting the pot to scrutiny to see if it is findable or not as a self-sustaining pot. Rather, it is a case of searching through the parts of the pot into its subparticle components, into the tiny the segments, the components, and seeing if any of those still stand the test of being gold in a pot, or to see if these tiny the parts, they are still the gold pot. Okay, so the discussion here is that as for the Vaibhashikas, they talk about the two truths. Say a gold pot, when you break it, the Vaibhashikas they are looking for the broken parts, if they are the golden pot. This is what they are searching. They are not searching for whether or not there's intrinsic pot or whether there's self-sustaining pot. They are looking for if there's tiny parts, among the tiny parts, if there is a pot there. So this their analysis does not connote the ultimate analysis of the Prasangika. And when they see that when the pot is broken into pieces, among the broken pieces you break them further into smaller and smaller and smaller. Eventually, it's extremely tiny on the particles. They are interested to look for if there is anything there to be identified amongst these tiny particles, to identify if there is anything which is the gold pot or golden pot. And they find that the golden pot is nowhere to be seen, but the gold is seen. Each of these tiny particles, they are still gold. So they say that the gold is the ultimate truth. After breaking it down, we still see the gold there, but the gold pot, as a pot, it is nowhere to be seen when it's broken. So the pot is what they consider as conventional truth or the relative truth, and the gold which constitutes this pot, which is the basic fabric, the basic material of this pot, is seen as ultimate truth. And here in this search of the pot, when broken down into smaller pieces, they are only looking for the pot. They are not looking for the intrinsic pot or intrinsic or self-sustaining pot. This is the difference. And it continues reading. And when, okay, let me read this again from the middle, the second paragraph. If you ask how this is different from the way Vaibhashikas posit a pot as relative truth or conventional truth, there, when they hit a golden pot to see what they hit, break it down to see what that might find, it is definitely not a case of subjecting the pot to scrutiny to see if it is findable or not as a self-sustaining pot. They're not looking for a self-sustaining pot. Rather, it is a case of searching through the parts of the pot into its sub-particle components and seeing if any of those still exist as a pot, as a gold pot, still stand the test of being gold or gold and a pot. And when it is found that they are still gold but not the pot, they then announce the gold part, that it has two parts. The gold pot has one, it being gold, and the other it being pot. Of the two, that the gold part, which served as the substantial material, as an ultimate truth, and the pot, which disappears when after breaking it, that pot is seen as relative truth. So this is an entirely different test they put it through, and is totally different from the above analysis.
Teta concern yane dina chachirawa so chima de chachuli de chachuli tene soni soso kan yo tabat teta kondo concern yane dina chashi nashi chujit ne par tedema teta da rongi ngu chamna da kumoto da po ni rongi senyi ji chebi chito tate koro cho goba tos tenika koyo tenika layo ribe nobis Anton Riba Tuana Da Rongi Mui ni Trabam Tai Jose to Mandu Jamba Niba Nebana Jita Sisi Ron Manzami Jail Mebar Stop by Toby estaba nieba, o estaba ni son como de teres,
Page 55, the first paragraph. To summarize the above points, chapter 18 of Lama Tsongkhapa's expositional treatise on the middle way says, in this way, if I existed intrinsically, then I and the aggregates would have to exist either as one or separate by virtue of their own characteristics. Meaning that if the I exists intrinsically, then I should be either intrinsically one with its aggregates, or should be intrinsically different from its aggregates. When one sees that both of these possibilities are logically untenable, one would then generate a conviction that I does not exist intrinsically, even at the slightest. That is when one would have generated the view understanding the absence of or the emptiness of intrinsic existence on the object of the innate identity view. The identity view here is what we commonly translate as the view of the perishable collection. The absence of intrinsic existence or the emptiness of intrinsic existence on the object as viewed by the view of the perishable collection.
Muguchi, Tele Mubato, Kubachi, Chicken Dosi, Mugut Nebo Tishes, Titabai, Tita Kui, Remo, Jacha, Don't Tita Remuti, some shit, Tino Shikui, Kui, Rivato, Molodonchi, Jacha. Geshe to Chidi, Bolo, Rono, Geshe, Jago, now, Jaji Jago, Lord, Triba, Gilem.
Page 55, the last paragraph, which reads, this and other confirmations give rise to a deep and humble appreciation of the meaning of the previous declaration of Kyodro Rinpoche. Here, I feel deeply respectful. I feel a tremendous respect comes to the Most Venerable Kyodro Rinpoche, the student of Lama Tsongkhapa, over his expositions of going to the nuances of this. And I fervently pray and hope that the translator added, I may gain fuller. It is not the case. How Rinpoche is explaining here is that because in Tibetan, this is the language issue. With the Tibetan, even without this subject indicated, it can be still there. It can be still said something. But in the English, we have to include the subject here. Otherwise, it becomes weird in English. So the translator added this. I fervently pray and hope that all beings, all sentient beings, may gain full appreciation of the meaning as indicated before. Then the colophon, written by Geshe Palden Drakpa at the age of 89 on the 1st of June 2021, as a personal memo, as well as with the hope that it might be of some benefit to some of my peers. May all be auspicious. And the English translation, rendered by Geshe Damdul Namgyel, with editing assistance from Martha Leslie Baker, June 2021, Atlanta, USA.